what is not wonderful, Katie, is the current situation around Optic Gaming. JCap and company cannot be happy with their big giant goose egg. They just seem to not be able to find their stride. It just seems like they are lost at times when they are on stage. What is wrong with Optic Gaming?
So that is the question, right? You have 4 out of the 5 players on that team in TJ, Dashy, Slasher, and Kenny all won last year. Kenny and Slasher won multiple times last year. This is a team, I mean, JCap is a 2-time world champion. This is a team that is full of talent, full of potential, and they just look discombobulated on the map. They don't play together particularly well. The meta actually doesn't suit them, and this is something Brian Saint, the coach of Minnesota Rocker, pointed out recently. Their team structure suits a 2 AR, 3 SMG meta. Of course, you have the likes of Slasher. You have folks who are more comfortable on a 2 AR setup, and that is simply not the meta right now, and that really hurts them because you have to take players off and put them into roles that they might not necessarily be comfortable with. And at the same time, though, whether it's the communication or the teamwork or the aggression on the map, it all just looks like the puzzle pieces are there, but they're scattered on the floor and no one has even attempted to start making the puzzle yet. So I'm very concerned for Optic. I view them similarly to how I viewed 100 Thieves last year, in that 100 Thieves came out and looked horrific. They had so much talent on their roster, but they looked horrible. And they made some potential changes. They shifted things around. They brought in Crowder, they brought in Priesta, and suddenly the team just clicked and they figured everything out. Whether that's something Optic needs to do, I would lean toward yes. I hate saying that because I have a lot of very dear friends on that team. But you're 3 events in and you haven't won a series. This is going to get very dire purely in terms of points needed to make playoffs. It's going to get very dire for them very, very quickly. And you don't have Pro League to work out your kinks. You don't have regular matches anymore to figure out what's going on. You only have tournaments where you can get O2'd off the scene, and then what do you do? So I'm very concerned.
You mentioned Crowder, by the way. With the victory this past weekend in Atlanta, he becomes the winningest coach with the most chips in the past 2 seasons. So the pedigree is certainly there. Pedigree is there with JCap, too. He didn't seem too upset or concerned when we interviewed him this past weekend with ESPN Esports, but the fans certainly are. 0 points, 0-4 across 2 events, only 3 games won. We know that there has been changes in rosters, Seattle being a great example with Enable. Is it time for a permanent change with Optic?
I mean, you've got to lean towards saying yes. I mean, realistically, because you're still, yes, they haven't gone to every event, but you're still 3 events into this season, as I just said, and there's really not a lot of buffer room. There's not time to figure things out. You have to go based off these tournaments and make those decisions. Obviously, Seattle chose to do that with Enable, and I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a change out of Optic. Whom may be, substituted in and who may be brought out remains to be seen. But across the board, the players have not had the performances I would expect out of that. TJ is an excellent example of that. TJ has been playing very poorly, and that's not the TJ we know. That's not the TJ we know from Optic. We know how good he can be, the World War II season. Slasher wanted specifically to team with TJ again after that World War II season that they had. So you know what he can do, but every time we see TJ, it's like he's running around the map blind. And so that's very odd. We've seen lackluster performances out of Slasher as well, out of JCap. He did better this weekend, but still across the board, the team is playing at a level that is surprisingly poor. So yes, I believe that by the next time they play, you will probably see a substitute come in. And if not by next time, absolutely after that.